Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel or welcome back to my podcast if you are listening to this in the audio version only. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics actually in astrology in general, our moon sign. And to be more specific, how to nurture our inner child according to our moon sign. Now, before we start looking at each moon sign and how to go about making friends again with our inner child, let me take a few quick moments to share some things with you. First and foremost, I am a Western tropical astrologer, so all videos on my channel and all episodes on my podcast follow Western tropical astrology. Secondly, if you want to work with me, if you want to book a consultation or a personalized reading, you can find me on writteninthestars-astrology.com. That is writteninthestars-astrology.com. On my website, in the services section, you can find the various types of options and readings that you can go for. You can choose between a live audio consultation or various types of audio recorded only readings. In the audio recorded only readings, you send me before I record the reading for you your questions, obviously your date, time, and place of birth, and I deliver the reading to you as if it were your own personalized podcast. So let's talk about our moon signs. This topic has been on my mind quite a lot. Well, obviously, it's always on my mind as a consulting astrologer. I talk to my clients a great deal about their moon signs. The moon, as I'm sure you are well aware of, has governance, let's say, over a wide variety of topics, such as our needs, our emotional life, our subconscious, our perception of the mother, what makes us feel safe and secure, how we nurture others, how we respond to the external world under stress, and what is our instinctual reaction. And ever since I read this book, so let me share it with you. It's called How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole Lapera, the holistic psychologist on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen me post or reshare her stories, her posts. This is what the book looks like. If you want to read one book and one book only that talks about mental health, relationships, how to heal ourselves, and how to overcome childhood trauma, I recommend reading this book. Nicole talks a great deal about how our relationships with our parents growing up and our style of attachment and our between our parents and us and our dynamic between our parents and us in relationships, how this impacts and how this is reflected further down the line in all our other relationships, friendships, business partnerships, romantic relationships, obviously. This book deals a great deal with how to overcome toxic styles of attachment and how to reparent ourselves. And that's what gave me the idea for this video. If we are to find peace within ourselves, it is my view as an astrologer that we first and foremost have to understand, really understand, and really make friends with our moon sign. Because it is by nurturing our moon that we get this inner sense of calm, this inner sense of safety, this inner sense of security. It is also how we reparent ourselves. So if you could do it all again, if you were to be in the shoes of your parent, in the shoes of your mother, let's say, how would you interact with yourself? What would you ensure that you have in terms of activities, in terms of support, in terms of nurturance on a day-to-day basis present in your life, so that you feel comfortable enough to go and face the world head on with confidence? So let's talk about how to nurture our inner child according to our moon sign. And I'm only going to talk about the sign of the moon in this video. If you enjoy this video, and if it's something that you would be interested in, I'm also going to do a separate video about moon aspects. So the aspects between your moon and other planets in your natal chart. If you don't know what your moon sign is, folks, I recommend finding your time of birth and going online on sites such as astro.com and putting in your date, time, and place of birth so that you can find out what your moon sign is. If you have your moon in Aries, how can you nurture your inner child on a day-to-day basis? How can you make your inner child feel safe and secure? Well, as a moon in Aries, on a day-to-day basis, you need a lot of action. You need a lot of movement. You need to be on the go. You need to feel excited about what's happening in your life. And excitement also comes with adrenaline. So I would say, my recommendation would be to have something in your life that you can rely on a day-to-day basis that brings you this sense of excitement, this sense of urgency, of having to act fast, of having to act decisively. It could be working out, for instance. It could be maybe competing in some shape or form. It could be working in a high-pressure environment, because in a high-pressure environment, a moon in Aries, that generally works very well under pressure because you act fast and you take decisions kind of like in a heartbeat. This is something that feeds your inner child. It feeds your soul. With the moon in Aries, your inner child also needs to win at something. So you can't always be in a competition with the world around you, certainly, but you can always be in competition with yourself. And I believe that that is where the highest amount of excitement can come from. So find an outlet in your life, find an activity, find an area in your life where you can constantly do better than you did yesterday, where you can constantly kind of push yourself and feel the excitement of, let's see if today I can beat my personal best. Your moon in Aries also feels very comfortable and nurtured when it has something in their life to defend and protect. So if you have something like that in your life, then this is literally how your inner child feels very, very good. And nurture that spirit of competition, because that's what your inner child loves, and that spirit of leadership. Now, if you are a moon in Taurus, your inner child needs, first and foremost, in order to feel safe and secure, comfort. It needs to be reassured that it's going to have food on the table tomorrow. It's going to have enough money in the bank. It's going to have a roof above their head. So in order to nurture your inner child, I would recommend ensuring that you've got all of these boxes ticked in your life. The moon in Taurus is also nurtured by tactile and sensual activities and experiences. For instance, something like massage, something like, let's say, taking a long bath is so soothing and so refreshing for the moon in Taurus. And it's actually quite simple, because the moon in Taurus enjoys the simple pleasures of life. Ensure that your inner child knows that they don't have to rush, because the moon in Taurus does not like to be rushed into things. It likes to take in life. It likes to experience life. Ensure that you've got moments in your life and even hours in your life where you can take your time. And that is how your child feels safe. Your inner child feels safe. Nature is also very soothing for the moon in Taurus. and spending time in nature. Now, if you have a moon in Gemini, how can you nurture your inner child? By encouraging its impulse to share its thoughts, its opinions, to verbalize, to share information, to gather information. Nurture your inner child by allowing it to ask questions, to be curious. Also, create time and space for yourself to read, to journal, to write, to compose. And also, it's hugely, hugely important for the moon in Gemini that there is some sort of opportunity on a day-to-day basis to get together with others, to intersect with others, to interact with others. Now, if your moon is in Cancer, how can you nurture your inner child? By showing empathy. Be gentle with yourself, be empathetic with yourself, be compassionate with yourself. Give yourself permission at times to change your state, to change your mood, to change your feeling. And don't judge yourself for how you feel in a moment. And don't judge yourself for maybe not being, let's say, in the best of shapes on a certain day. Give yourself time to, let's say, feel comfortable in your home. Sometimes the moon in Cancer, generally, in order to reset themselves, simply needs to spend some time at home. You don't have to be running all the time. You don't have to be in a rush all the time. You don't have to be out of the house all the time. The moon in Cancer also enjoys spending time in a family-like environment. So if you don't have that in your home, then I would recommend looking for that somewhere, or creating that somewhere in your life where you can feel part of a greater family, of a bigger family. It could be in a work environment also. Give your moon in Cancer something to nurture, something to take care of, be it a plant, be it a puppy. Music is also very soothing for the moon in Cancer, and giving yourself time to process feelings, to process emotions, to process memories is one of the most gentle things that you can do for a moon in Cancer. Now, if you are a moon in Leo, how can you nurture your inner child? Well, if you don't have an outlet or a sector in your life where you can shine, where you can be center stage, where you can take the lead, where you can be in the center of attention, where you can receive credit and acknowledgement, then what are you doing? Your moon in Leo is famished. So feed it and nurture it by having one of these outlets in your life. If it's not something that you have, let's say, at home or in your career, make sure that you've got some sort of creative, self-expressive outlet in your life. For instance, having a passion or a hobby such as dancing or performing is food for the soul for the moon in Leo. Now, if you are a Virgo moon, your inner child is nurtured by spending time in nature, by spending time surrounded by animals. Your moon in Virgo also enjoys taking care of the body. It enjoys having a routine, so ensure that you do create a routine that you can stick to. The moon in Virgo also enjoys having this feeling of constantly growing and constantly developing. So be gentle with yourself and remind yourself that you are a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. Also, last but not least, ensure that you give your moon in Virgo a cause to contribute to that makes you feel competent and useful. Now, if you have your moon in Libra, your moon and your inner child is nurtured by peace and harmony, an enjoyable social environment. It is nurtured by social connections and spending time surrounded by other people. It is also nurtured by beauty, by creating a beautiful space for yourself, and an aesthetically pleasing space at home, at work, everywhere. Also, give yourself permission to dedicate time in your life to beautifying yourself, beautifying your environment, having this sort of aesthetically pleasing outlet. It doesn't have to be, let's say, necessarily, I don't know, your looks. It could be the design of your home is also very, very, very soothing. And last but not least, obviously, having a partner and doing something in partnership with others, in collaboration with a partner, feeling part of a team is also food for the soul for Libra. Now, if you are a Scorpio moon, your moon needs privacy. So be gentle and give yourself privacy. Give yourself time to get to know your surroundings, to get to know your environment. Don't judge yourself if you are experiencing, let's say, all sorts of like fears or mixed feelings or mixed emotions when it comes to your interactions with other people. Give yourself time and space to process the messages and the interactions with others. Your moon in Scorpio is nurtured by deep and profound relationships. It is also fed, I will say, by exploring mysteries, secrets, by having some sort of behind the scenes activity that you only keep to yourself and you keep away from prying eyes, and that constitutes kind of like this secret that you can protect from the rest of the world, that you can bury away from the rest of the world, and something that gives you a strong sense of power. Now, if you are a Sagittarius moon, your inner child is fed by adventure. So ensure that you give it adventure. For instance, playing a team sport is such an exciting and spontaneous and fun and adventurous activity, and something that your moon in Sagittarius would probably absolutely love. Spontaneity and spontaneous activities and doing things at the drop of a hat is also very soothing for the moon in Sagittarius. Support your own need for expansion and diversity, as well as your instinctual quest for meaning in this lifetime. I've worked with so many clients with the moon in Sagittarius who were feeling a little bit conflicted about the fact that they've got such a wide variety of interests, and they constantly kind of like get interested in new things and new fields, and it feels like the world is their oyster, and at the same time they feel slightly, let's say, uneasy about it, because they might be thinking, oh my gosh, I have to specialize. The world is telling me to specialize. The world is telling me to choose a path. Your moon in Sagittarius is nurtured by this feeling of growth, expansion, and adventure, and also this feeling of being on a constant journey of discovery of what the world has to offer. So don't judge yourself for needing to discover as much as possible of what this world has to offer. If you have your moon in Capricorn, I'm actually a moon in Capricorn, your inner child is actually nurtured by feeling productive, by having something to work towards, by having a set of goals, or at least one goal, or an objective to work towards, and by feeling like it's making progress steadily towards that goal and towards that objective. Nurture your ambitions and don't judge yourself for them, and also don't let fear, and fear of failure in particular, or fear of external judgment, get in the way of you pursuing your ambitions, because that is what gives you a strong sense of inner harmony. Planning ahead also makes you feel very comfortable and very safe inside, and obviously when you hit one of those goals on your list, it's like ka-ching! It's very interesting because I've been having these conversations with my husband, and he's like, sometimes you just need to rest. Why aren't you resting? Why aren't you stopping? You always seem to have like something on your mind in terms of work, in terms of your next goal. And with my moon in Capricorn, I've realized sometimes in order to feel good with myself, and I know some of you might raise their eyebrows and say, Rux, something's wrong with you. But even when I'm, I don't know, on vacation, or when I don't plan to kind of like work on a certain day, doing something that to me feels like an achievement. For instance, working out gives me this sort of like inner peace of mind for me to kind of like then carry on with my day and feel really good about myself. So I've shared my own experience. Let me know yours if you are Moon in Capricorn. Or if you are a Moon in any other sign, I'm very curious to hear how you nurture your inner child. If you're a Moon in Aquarius, your inner child needs open air. It needs independence. It needs freedom to do things their own way. Don't judge yourself for wanting to try out new things, for wanting to experiment. Don't judge yourself for, let's say, not necessarily being as emotionally responsive at times as other people, because there is a certain level of detachment from emotions with the Moon in Aquarius that sometimes could be, let's say, a reason why the individual actually feels guilty. Your Moon in Aquarius also gets fed by being surrounded by like-minded individuals. So I would say find your tribe, find your people, and also by feeling free to do whatever it wants to do without feeling constrained by external rules or authorities or, let's say, leadership. So ensure that you've got somewhere in your life, a passion, a hobby, an area, a sector of your life where you can act according to your own will, without having anyone else interfere with your decisions. And I know we're obviously social creatures, we're all interlinked and interdependent, but it does help to have that kind of like area in your life where you're like, this is me. Here I do whatever it is that I want to do, and no one can tell me anything. And if you are a Moon in Pisces, your inner child is nurtured by music, creativity, having a creative or artistic outlet, daydreaming, spending time in private. Also, any sort of spiritual activities are very, very soothing for the Moon in Pisces. Feeling like you've got some sort of connection with a higher force, with your higher self. Exploring what's happening to you on the inside is very soothing and very nurturing. Also, be very gentle with yourself when it comes to processing your feelings and your emotions, and allow yourself to feel all your feelings and your emotions without judging yourself, without thinking, I've got to get out of this mood. I've got to get out of this state of being. I have to be productive. I have to do things. No, allow time for your inner child to process the emotional material that it has gathered throughout the day, in private, on your own, without trying to push it too hard to focus on something else or do something else, because this is literally something that can lead to bottled emotions and then to mental health issues. So I'm very curious to hear how you could reparent yourselves if you could. I hope this has been helpful. Don't forget, you can also follow me on Instagram at RUXUnbelievable. And if you want to work with me, you can find me on writteninthestars-astrology.com. I will see you next time, everyone. Thank you for joining.